7 years ago, I was fully in my To All the Boys I Loved Before era. I devoured all of the books, I watched all of the movies on repeat, and I cried over Peter Kowinski like he was my own boyfriend. So when I found out that the same author also wrote The Summer I Turned Pretty, I didn't hesitate. Okay, full disclosure, I only read the third book, but I did watch season 1 and 2 of the show immediately. And yet, I only watched the season 2 finale 3 weeks ago before season 3 came out. Because the second to last episode of season 2 made me feel so uncomfortable, I just had to tap out. And honestly, I feel like that describes the show really well. Like, why are grown adults crashing out over this show? At work.
Pissing me off! Oh!
You know, we all just wanted a cute little nostalgic summer escape to just turn our brains off for a second. But instead, we got war. Every time I scroll TikTok, there's another breakdown over By the way, that is the worst abbreviation for a show ever. Like, TVD just sounds way better. Anyway, I'm talking multiple part analyses, conspiracy theories, cinematic edits with soul-crushing music. And yes, I do watch them all. This is not a cute fandom anymore, it is a battleground. Team Conrad versus Team Jeremiah is tearing apart friendships. And it's sending grown people into identity crises. If you haven't watched the show yet, first of all, you're missing out on a really good crash out. This is actually really sad. No. No. He baked. I didn't expect this. Second of all, I won't recap the entire plot. This is just gonna be a discussion, but there might be spoilers. I watched until season 3, episode 4 so far, and I will talk about everything that happened up until that point. Maybe, just maybe, which team you're on isn't even the point. I know, wild, but hear me out, because maybe this whole obsession isn't about Belly and her boy drama. So let's get into it, because I do have some questions. But first, let me put on my glasses so I can actually see Belly's ring. I mean, I got the top one from a friend, and even that one is bigger. Okay. Question 1, why is every main character emotionally unavailable, a walking red flag, or just plain boring? Question 2, is Belly a shitty person, or is she just a teenager in love? Question 3, which one is the correct boyfriend to pick? And yes, I know I read the third book, I know the ending, but I swear to approach this scientifically and not let that knowledge cloud my objectively perfect judgment. The couple I loved most in the first season is Susanna and Laurel. That's a real love story right there. 2 women meeting in college and being soulmates until the very end. The friendship was loyal, extremely supportive, and just real.
Sometimes I think the only person you ever truly loved is Susanna.
And honestly, the relationship between the moms, also the moms and their kids, the cancer storyline, and even Laurel and Joseph, the dad, those were emotionally more complex and far more interesting than anything happening in Belly's love life. And yet the chaos that Belly willingly threw herself in is the main storyline. Belly's out there dropping lifelong friendships and every single ounce of common sense for a chance at attention from one of the Fisher boys, both of whom are emotionally stunted in their own unique and deeply frustrating ways. And what annoys me the most is that this whole emotional immaturity is portrayed perfectly.
You're embarrassing yourself.
I thought you hated the Red Sox.
I hate that because it messes with my head. It's too real, and I cannot even be mad at the writers because they capture the craziness of being a teenager and being in love perfectly. And they make us feel like we're right there with them, even though for some, it's been more than a decade since they were that age. It makes me feel young and like a fossil at the same time. Stealing someone's clothes while they are skinny dipping because you saw a text message from your situationship on their phone is exactly the toxic and unhinged stuff that I would expect from a series about coming of age.
Your girlfriend and her friend are gonna need this.
And the fact that they even stayed friends after that is wild. But anyway, I digress. Conrad spends the entirety of the first season looking like he's listening to Crash Out playlist on repeat in his head. He's just brooding and emotionally unavailable. He's basically drowning, and we can see that. Let's be honest, he was a huge prick. He played with Belly's feelings, he was doing the whole hot and cold type of shit, but we could see the pain, we could see the struggle, and I think it would be cruel to not give him some compassion. He was dealing with the knowledge about his mother's sickness and also the whole cheating scandal thing alone, and let me frame this elegantly. That is fucked up. I think the Debs would approve of that. Jeremiah, on the other hand, starts off as this like really fun golden retriever kind of boy. But when Conrad starts showing interest in Belly, he flips fast. He gets possessive and impulsive. The moment Belly even gets close to kissing Conrad, he almost sets them on fire, which again is exactly the unhinged type of stuff I would expect from this series. And he does that even though he flirts with anyone who even comes close to him. And at this point, I'm surprised he hasn't flirted with Laurel yet. Maybe this is just normal situationship delusion, and maybe he also deserves some compassion, but you know, let's just see how the story unfolds. Because spoiler alert, it's not gonna be cute.
We had sex.
Fuck you! And then there is Cam Cameron. Sweet, innocent, emotionally available Cam Cameron. He's vegan, he's respectful, he's just a marine biology king who just wanted to hold hands with Belly and give her his hoodie. How was he repaid? Forgotten. Left there whale watching.
Young female humpback.
I think he kind of enjoyed that, but we're not done because the worst of all of them is Belly. She's a deeply confused 15, 16-year-old who shouldn't be in charge of choosing anyone. She shouldn't even be in charge of choosing what to eat for breakfast. Her decision-making skills are lacking. They're non-existent. She's emotionally resistant to smart decisions. So back to our question, why is every single character emotionally unavailable, a red flag, or just boring? I think it's just because they're teenagers. I know, but honestly, most of the shit they did in season 1 isn't that dramatic. They're just teenagers with a lot of emotions and a lot of hormones and a lot of confusion and main character syndrome. That's just how teenagers are. Some teenagers are just impulsive. It might not be necessary to almost set your brother and your situationship on fire, but well, we only live once, right? Season 2 is when things go from bad to worse, and I need a coffee for this. This is when I actually started asking myself, is Belly the villain here? Is she the worst of them all? They're all grieving, including her mother. Is this really the moment to run around trying to figure out which Fisher boy to date? At this point, I wouldn't have been surprised if she would have also added their dad onto the list, because he is a Fisher boy after all, and he has known her whole life. I mean, those are clearly the only two things she wants in a man. And I know this is wild, but Belly, might I suggest that you don't need to date anyone for a while? You could grieve and maybe buy a journal and maybe go to a therapist. Other people could also go to a therapist. Please, someone go to a therapist. Please, I'm begging you, just go to a therapist. In season 1, all of their behavior was excused by the fact that they're teenagers. Belly is still a teenager. She's confused. She's almost in love, almost grieving. But while watching this, I really wondered if this is still about love. Is this still about picking the correct person? Or is this just about being chosen, about feeling seen and wanting to matter so much to someone that you don't care who you hurt in the process? Because dating someone's brother after their mother just died is just cruel. Have you seen how he looks at you? Conrad is dying on the inside and you go off and date his brother? What about just, driving away? Or I don't know, go whale watching with Cameron. Leave these two poor boys to grieve and to figure out their own issues, because they have enough. The most frustrating part is that Belly makes bad decisions and then she just keeps repeating them. And then she also manages to act shocked when those decisions have consequences. Surprise, bitch! She doesn't learn anything, not even after really traumatic life events, like Susanna's funeral. She could be, supporting her mother, crying in a corner, journaling, again, going to therapy. But no, instead she's telling Conrad to go to hell because he had the audacity to spend time with a woman who's not her, even though she broke up with him, if I recall correctly.
So what?
That we're over?
And the writing in this part is just so... Because I can stand here and talk about it rationally. However, at that age, it is spot on and it is infuriating because it is so accurate. It really depicts the really bad life decisions, again, that teenagers make. Also, while we're here, the music is immaculate. Who signed off on your budget? What is your budget? I want to know the budget. Billie Eilish, Olivia Rodrigo, Taylor Swift, Lana Del Rey, Sabrina Carpenter, SZA, Taylor Swift multiple times. Exile. I'm so mad because I cried multiple times watching this show and it is annoying, okay? I don't want to cry for a stupid but I was emotionally manipulated by the music. You cannot play Evermore during a breakup scene and expect me to not cry. And he definitely doesn't win Boyfriend of the Year award, but I just think that Belly is being cruel. Yes, it sucks for Belly. Okay, she didn't get her perfect prom night. But that doesn't mean you need to immediately jump to the next brother. Again, what about a journal? What about just spending summer with your bestie? Maybe in Cousins, that could be cute. Or I don't know, eat some sandwiches with Cam Cameron. Go whale watching alone for all I care. Surely that's a better idea than ripping apart the remainder of a grieving family just because you now decided you actually want the other brother. This is not a cute love triangle anymore, okay? It is a trauma triangle. Everyone is grieving, everyone is confused, everyone is annoyed. They're kind of coming together and kind of figuring things out and talking about it, but not really. None of them are emotionally equipped to handle any of this stuff at this point, especially not with the added stress of losing the house. I really just think that the good decision would have been for Belly to take a step back, maybe like 10,000 kilometers of steps back.
Here we go.
So is Belly a bad person, or is she just a teenager in love? I think she's a teenager in love who also doesn't really care who she's hurting, which kind of makes her into a bad person. I have a lot of bad things to say about Belly, but I do not believe that she's fully a bad person. I strongly lean towards the second option. I don't think she has bad intentions. I think she has main character syndrome. And she's not ready. She's not emotionally mature enough to be there for anyone. She's really selfish, but in that very specific teenager way, which makes her kind of relatable. It doesn't make her right, but it does make her real. She's not a villain, but she does have really bad coping mechanisms. And so do all of the Fisher boys. And I think a therapist could have told her that. She's just a sad girl trying to understand her feelings and accidentally starting a war in the process. And speaking of war, let's talk about season 3. Season 3 is when you realize that this is not a cute summer love show, it is a psychological thriller. Every episode feels like the writers are holding you emotionally hostage. I am an adult person with my own responsibilities and not one but 2 jobs and getting a degree, and I am crashing out over this show every single Wednesday night as if I wouldn't have 10,000 other things to do. No. Again, I read the book. I could just not watch anymore because I kind of know the ending. But Jenny Han said the ending is gonna be... I'm just scared at this point. I don't know what's gonna happen. I kind of want to find out, but I'm also afraid of what's gonna happen once I find out. I do have a theory that they just said that the ending is gonna be different, but it's actually not going to be. Maybe they just want us all to just keep watching. Clearly, it's gonna make them a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. Let's break this down. Teen Jeremiah will tell you that he's sweet, he's fun, he's dependable, he's like the golden retriever boy. And yes, that is true in theory, but in practice, he is chaotic. He might be a good choice, but only because the bar is on the ground. I get that he looks good and a lot of people are attracted. Is it because he has a six-pack? Is it? Come on, you can tell me. Is it because he has blue eyes? You can tell me. I won't judge. But a relationship with Jeremiah sounds better than it actually seems to be. I mean, you could argue that he's just in college enjoying his life. You know, he's having fun, he's smoking, he's going to parties, and he cheats on her.
How many times?
Twice.
Wouldn't get any closer unless you want your balls cut off.
I know that the argument is that they were broken up. However, Lola, the actor playing Belly, actually said that she doesn't feel like they were broken up. And I also don't think that they had enough of a talk. Also, breaking up with your girlfriend of 3-4 years and then sleeping with another woman from the same school on a trip you went on where you didn't invite your girlfriend to is cruel. It's evil. It's only been a week, bro. Chill. You know, apparently Conrad hasn't been with anyone in 4 years. Just saying, just putting that out there. You might consider it cheating, you might not, but not telling her when they got back together is just a shitty move. But oh wait! Proposing with no ring in front of a hospital, standing up after her brother almost died, and after she hasn't slept the entire night and is probably just confused and tired and wants to go home is criminal. Please put this man in a jail cell because what is that? To me, the whole scene felt like Jeremiah is still the little brother who didn't get the girl first and is still annoyed about it.
Congrats on your win today. It's not about winning for me. Okay, sure.
Even though it's been 3 years he's been together with her, apparently in a committed relationship.
Nice.
His love for Belly feels like he's still trying to prove something. He's trying to win a competition and just be better than Conrad rather than just being with her and loving her. Now let's talk about Conrad because I am getting annoyed. He's brooding, he's brilliant, he's at Stanford, he's barely functioning. This man is holding on to his sanity with one hand and to the memories of Belly with the other. Someone said on TikTok that it is concerning that he's still hung up on Belly after so many years, which is kind of funny, but I also think that it perfectly depicts this whole first love trope. Again, it's real, it's raw, and it's like in the movies. I mean, I can't help it, okay? Personally, I think that it's really cute and it really touches my heart. In the first season, I didn't really understand what Belly saw in Conrad growing up, but also Connie wasn't acting like himself in season 1, according to Susanna, which means that probably this is the side that Belly saw growing up and decided she fell in love with. And I get that. I mean, he's kind, he's deeply loyal, and kind of weird, but in a cute way. And his best self is that he respected Belly's choice, even though it killed him. Choosing to play exile during that scene is emotional violence. Why are you doing this to me? I feel like we really see Conrad from his best side in season 3. We see his loyalty for Belly, the way that he actually just knows her, the way that he's been loving her for years. He doesn't always say the right thing or say anything at all. Like, he really should learn how to communicate better. Like, please learn how to speak. But I feel like he has improved since season 2. Maybe therapy helps, and maybe Belly should try it. Here's the thing. Conrad loves Belly. Not just in the summer, not just when it's cute, not only when it benefits him. Especially not when it benefits him, because he seems to love her more the more that she hurts him. And he's terrible at expressing it, but you can see how much it pains him to see her with someone else. Yet, he still just wants her to be happy, even if it's not with him. Maybe that is the problem. So who should she choose? A couple more arguments, because I am clearly on one team and my opinion is objectively accurate. Let's just rapid fire through these. Jer was a brat when Connie and Belly were together.
But if you guys are going to be here together, then I don't want to be around.
Conrad never punched Jeremiah. Conrad kept his mother's secret when again it killed him and got punched for it. Conrad begged for his brother's blessing before getting together with his situationship. So what is the best choice? Neither. Belly needs a gap year, a sabbatical, a retreat, a social media detox, to live in a therapist's office for 6 months with the therapist. She needs to get to know herself before being anyone's girlfriend. Because right now I feel like her and Jeremiah actually bring out the worst in each other. Like the pool scene when they were making fun of Conrad for saying ridiculous, even though he was the most composed one when they announced the wedding and didn't lash out. And he cancelled his flight and begged for her, even though hours earlier she was mocking him. That's love, and that is consideration, and that is maturity. Belly forgave Jeremiah for cheating.
How many times?
Twice, but never actually forgave Conrad for being depressed because his mother died of cancer. And I don't think that Conrad deserves Belly. Honey baby, you deserve peace. You deserve to go to med school somewhere far, far away. Please get away from these horrible people. Please just marry some nice, emotionally mature lady. Just follow your dreams and live a nice life somewhere far, far away. Belly, she needs to learn that love isn't supposed to cost you your dreams. It is not supposed to break you down and turn you into a horrible person to the point where you don't even recognize yourself. The fact that she was willing to throw away one of her biggest goals to just stay with Jeremiah tells me everything. What do you mean you're not gonna go on your semester abroad because he doesn't want you to go? In season 3, there is no love triangle between Jeremiah, Belly, and Conrad. It is more like a straight line between will Belly come to her senses or won't she? And the whole Team Conrad versus Team Jeremiah thing is funny, but I feel like people are starting to realize that this is not about which boy to choose. It's about what kind of love we think we deserve. Jeremiah is the fun and loud guy, you know, the guy you think you want, but once you get him, you will start hating yourself and your whole entire life because he's just insecure and makes you feel the same way. And Conrad is the quiet and safe choice. Yes, he might not be that exciting, but he's the kind that still lets you be yourself when he chooses you. And he loves you for the fact that you are yourself. Might not be perfect, but he also won't make you hate yourself. That is a win in my book. These two guys are the perfect embodiment of lust versus love. Let me read you something. Which quote does this belong to? You look hot. Jeremiah, clearly. I wanted to grab her and hold her and kiss the shit out of her. Jeremiah, clearly. My chest physically hurts not being able to tell her that I'm in love with her. No, you have the prettiest smile I've ever seen. Your whole face just lights up. Belly, I don't think I could ever get over you. When I talk to you, I'm just happy. I rest my case. Anyway, whether you're Team Jeremiah, Team Conrad, or Team Please Just Go to Therapy, please. This show really shows how many of us grew up thinking that love had to be exciting and chaotic in order to be real. That it had to hurt, that you have to choose between love and peace. And I feel like a grandma saying this. True love shouldn't feel like war. It should feel like peace, calmness, being understood, like being at home and at peace with yourself. I know I still haven't answered the question. Here's my final argument. Hot girls choose Conrad. Please remember that my judgment is always objectively correct. You cannot argue with science or with me. My main takeaway from this show is that this is not romance. This is emotional terrorism, and we are all its victims. I don't want to be a victim anymore, but I do want to know how this ends. To conclude, Belly needs a therapist and a journal, not a man. Maybe not everything needs to be a love triangle. Maybe the right choice is none of the above.